This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Ross, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and 3 Counts.
Cover! We got us a new world champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and 3 Counts is the podcast, baby! It's the real deal, baby!
Knockouts and 3 Counts starts now.
Ooh, what up? No, it is another Thursday. This is Knockouts and 3 Counts, and yes, the rumors are true. Corey and I are still alive after two-piece promotions. It was quite the crazy night for your boys from Knockouts and 3 Counts, but we've got some more fights to talk about. Shout out to two-piece promotions for having us. Yes, we'll be back out there in April for the commentary for that, but we got to talk about some fights that are coming to you a lot sooner than that. We've got a debut on the show tonight. We've got the debut of Derick Dmillz Miller Jr. We appreciate you coming through. Shout out to Brain Jerk for putting this all together. How you feeling headed into February 21st, my guy?
Hey, I'm feeling good, man. I'm peaking at the right time. Hey, I stay ready.
Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. Sounds like a past guest of this show. Shout out to Matt Cardona doing his thing over there in the pro wrestling world. But with that said, dude, you know, like I was telling you before Corey jumped in here, I've been keeping up with what you've been doing for a while. Like I said, I've been around the Detroit scene for quite a while. But for those of our viewers who are newer to you and don't know as much about what's going on with your fight career, before we get into what you got going on February 21st, give our listeners a little bit of a background. Like, talk to me a little bit about your journey into the sport. What got you into boxing? And what made you decide to not only keep boxing, but now you're doing your thing in the professional ranks?
Well, yeah. So, I started boxing when I was like 14. Started the amateur boxing thing at my local community center. It was like a year that I took off from football. And, I just added that to my array of sports: football, basketball, baseball. I'm an athlete. Took off, I was 61-10 as an amateur, went pro 2019. I'm undefeated as a pro. Got me 25 in the world, 25 in the world, 4 in the country. Hey, it's all been unanimous decision or knockouts, you feel me?
Hey, man, it was unanimous, getting the job done. That's what I like to hear. I came up through the amateurs myself. We were actually making a joke about this with Sammy the Heat Worthington, which if you guys are new here, make sure you go check that one out, because I took my first fight, too, at 13 years old. So talk to me a little bit about that. How do you feel like the pedigree that you got coming over from the amateurs like that, how does that serve you, whether that's good or bad in the world of pro boxing? Because us also coming from MMA, and MMA, it's a little different. You got you only got to have 5 amateur fights before you can go pro. In MMA, boxing, you see so much more of that amateur pedigree. How much do you think that helped you before you got to the pro ranks?
Well, I mean, I went pro pretty much at a later age, at like 28. So, through my amateur career, I got a lot of lessons learned. You know what I mean? You learn a lot from the amateurs, and that's what the amateur boxing is for you to get all your mistakes and things out the way. And I believe that's what I did. Once I just really peaked at being an amateur, I was beating guys up. I'm like, it's time to go pro. I can defend myself real well. No bumps, no bruises, all these fights, man. So I know a little something.
You talked about how you were in the gym at a younger age and stuff. What made you decide to kind of chase the actual fighting bug later on, though? You self-admitted you didn't get into the pro side of it till a little bit later. What made you finally want to make that transition?
Well, I mean, I was always chasing the dream of, being able to take care of my family, and amateurs don't pay, so I had to turn over and go pro. and then, you know, my buddy Arthur Porter, AJ, he was another champ here in Monroe. He was my guy, one of my brothers. He had passed away, and he was Monroe's champ. You know what I'm saying? And I was about to go off and just work a job, but you know, my city was just dying for another champ. So you know, I came back, and I've been on and running from there, man. It's just from the spirit of it, you know.
Talk to us a little bit about that, man. You know, you talk about coming out of Monroe. Most of the time when you hear people talk about Michigan boxing, I mean, I know for me, I grew up boxing in Detroit and boxing a few different places out there. Talk to me about what it means to you to be able to come out of somewhere like Monroe and be able to put on like that. Like you said, once your buddy passed, you know, you kind of picked up the mantle. What does it mean to you to be able to put on a big stage like that? You said you're number 25 in the world right now. What does that mean to be able to do that out of a place like Monroe?
It's huge, man. You know, last world champion that we had here from Monroe is known as Bronco McCart.
Yes, sir. The legend.
Legend, you know. So coming from a lineage of boxers like Todd Riggs, Keith Vining, Rico Hoy, there's a lot of great boxers that came out of Monroe, but to really hit that level of world champ, you know, I'm not just Monroe's champ, you know, not just Detroit's champ, you know, I'm representing Michigan. I'm representing the U.S., you know what I'm saying? So it's big because it's bigger than just the city I'm coming from. And my city is, hey, we on the map, man. We doing good.
Hell yeah.
That's one thing I've seen a ton of. From, like Kyle had mentioned, we do a lot on the MMA side and stuff, but that's something I had really seen on the MMA side with the like international fighters and stuff like that, is they have a way of getting their fans behind them so rapidly, so quickly, because of like, whether it be it's not as big of a thing over there, or it's a huge sport, but there's not as many athletes that are at that level, or whatever the case be. As somebody here in the States, we've seen even like another champ from the state, Jamal Hill, struggle to kind of maintain a huge fan share and stuff like that, and kind of get some hate sometimes. How do you think we as like Americans can kind of get, like you were just saying, you're the Michigan guy, you're the American, you know, how do we get the fans to kind of rally behind our own, like we see in these other countries?
Well, from looking at it from a smaller perspective, like my city is a small little city outside of Detroit. But we show a lot of support to sports in Monroe. So like our high school sports and just other sports like that, you know, we rally behind that and the word spreads. So like, I'm fighting at Motor City, and I got dang near more Monroe people at the fight than Detroit, and they spreading a good word about me. You know, I'm not out here being a bad guy in these streets. You know, I love God. I do a lot of stuff for my community center. I do a lot of good things, and I think that's what, you know, Michigan, the United States, or just my city of Monroe is really rooting on and rallying behind me. And that's what we want to do. We kind of look at people's background, you know?
Love to hear it, dude. Obviously, like you said, putting on for the mitten, it's always good to see. You know, you always hear people talk about, you know, Detroit and all those things when it comes to boxing or other places. But it's nice to see, like you said, to have people come out like that for the fight. You know, I know from talking to Bruce and some of the matchmakers that you're always selling tickets when we get to these fights. So you love to hear that kind of thing. Talk to me a little bit about, who were some of the influences? Who were some of the guys that you like to watch fight, and who are some of the guys that you feel like influenced the style in which we see from you inside the ring now?
Well, a big boxer that I really liked a long time ago, you know, Roy Jones Jr. was pretty much my favorite boxer. That's who I kind of...
Hard to compete with that one.
You know, that's who I kind of like to emulate. You know, what could he do? The things he could do. He could slip punches. He could throw hard punches. You know, he was slick. You know, he was just smart. Ring awareness. You know, you look at Floyd, you look at Crawford now, you look at Sweet Pea, you know, all these guys that could survive in the game. They had good defense. It's about defense, you know. And that's what inspires me, being able to be in this sport, get in it, do it, get out healthy.
Totally respect that. Floyd was one of my favorites to watch. Like when I was coming up fighting, Floyd was always one of my favorites to watch. People would always complain about Floyd because of all the defense. I watched Floyd from when he was fighting Chico Corrales all the way through his career. And the fact that that man was able to make it out of 50 fights, never really took a shit ton of damage, you know, was finishing dudes left and right, fought most everybody. Granted, we'd all like to see the Manny Pacquiao fight a little earlier than it did. But with that being said, I mean, dude, the guy fought a who's who of people that you could put together and is still making bags off of these exhibition fights too. So Floyd Mayweather is a good one to always hear. And, you know, like Valerie's saying, you know, another Michigan man. You know, that's the thing. A lot of people mistake the fact that Floyd is from Michigan. You know, yeah, he's out in Vegas now, but people forget. And, you know, like we mentioned before we hit the go live button, you know, that's just like another past guest of the show who we just got to cover her fight last week. You know, getting to see World Championship boxing brought back here to the Mitten has been a beautiful thing to see. You know, we just got to cover the Clarissa Shields fight and interview her and her opponent, Danielle Perkins, which if you guys missed that, make sure you hit the subscribe button and check it out. It says we got about 130 people in here right now, so make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and share it out for us real quick. But, yeah, man, it's great to see more people from the Mitten, you know, making it out. Because, you know, like I said, more of my training came on a lot of the MMA side as well. Like we had guys like my guy Miles Jury that came out of here, Darren Cruikshank, Justin James, whole bunch of guys that went to the UFC. But seeing, like you said, you know, you're number 25 in the world. You got people like Clarissa Shields that are coming out of Michigan, bringing that stuff back to the city. And now as you rise up these ranks, it's opening the door for somebody like you to be able to be the next up. You know, that's the thing. A lot of times Michigan isn't the place that's looked at for what's next up and things like that. You keep knocking them down like you're doing, whether that's a unanimous decision, a finish. I mean, that's what the people like to see. So, I mean, the more we keep seeing that, I'm sure we're going to see you in some bigger fights. But with that being said, talk to me about your last fight. I got to see the last fight. So talk to me about your thoughts on that. And we got to talk a little bit about the post-fight speech. So before we get to that, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on the last trip to the ring.
I mean, last trip to the ring, you know, the guy was he was filling in because I was supposed to fight a guy from Russia, and I don't know, he got injured a shoulder or something like that. So the next guy was a fill-in, you know, a guy that had like 60-something fights, 60, 70-something fights. So it's a guy that's been in there in the ring doing things, but I mean, I finished him real early. It was like a minute and 20-something seconds, I think. You know, I hit him with that body shot, man. That body shot shut the body down. I mean, it might look weak, but hey, not too many people have been hit with these body shots, man. You got to
Bro, I
respect
preach
them.
about it all the time, dude.
Yeah.
Body shots are like the most underrated thing. The worst shot I ever took in a fight was a shot to the liver, and that delayed reaction that it comes with it, bro, is a nasty thing. So I couldn't agree with you more on the body shot tip. But with that being said, and fighting a guy like that, that brings another question. You know, again, we talked about that chat with Sammy Worthington, but her opponent that she fought on the last card had 38 fights. Wasn't the best record of all, but it was somebody that has a lot of experience. Can you talk to me a little bit about what are the dangers for somebody like you who's on your way up like that when you fight someone, like you said, who has 60 fights experience, which might not have necessarily the best record, but again, that's 60 fights pro experience, regardless of, you know, who they're getting in with. What is the mindset in a fight like that?
Mindset is, you know, stick to the script, you know, what your coaches is teaching you, you know. That's like, I think like my 7th fight, I fought a guy from Mexico, a Bandu. He fought ex-world champions and stuff like that. This guy was like a rubber band, man. Like I was hitting him with full shots, boom, blowing his stuff out. He'd come back like this and bounce right back, ready to go. This guy had about 60 fights. You know what I mean? So I had like 7. So it looks like a mismatch, but it really takes experience. Like I say, my amateur experience has got me there. I know what to expect.
Makes it another day in the office.
That's one thing, Kyle.
It's like being a doctor. You know what I'm saying? It's like
you got a job to do, and ultimately, it's game time when you get through them ropes.
Yeah. When you a doctor, you got to be a surgeon. You got to do the dirty work. People like, oh, how are you going to save his life? You know what I'm saying? You got to be real strategic, and you got to be relaxed. And that's how I am in the ring. I'm relaxed, baby. Ain't nobody gonna fluster me, get me out the way, because I got the best jab in the game, baby.
That's something you love to hear as somebody that's using the jab. I feel like not only in MMA, but even in boxing in 2025, I feel like that's the most underutilized weapon in a fight. But with that being said, that leads us quite perfect into the next question that I had. I said we had to talk about what you said after that fight. And I was listening to the post-fight interview with past guest of the show, Kara Rowe. And I heard you say once your opponent, Vernon Webber, had called you out, that you were looking for maybe a little bit tougher matchup off the rip. Talk to me about the thought process for that, and what is it that made you take this fight?
Post-fight, I was saying I'm looking for something better. I mean, I am, I know what Webber's got. I know what he does. It's, usually 2 local fighters don't really meet up and fight unless it's personal or for big money, But I think he just, biting off a little more than he can chew. You know what I'm saying? He want to be big and bad, woo, 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 but he don't got the skills I got. I'm looking for world champions. I'm in a hunt right now for world champions. They got me on their radar right now. I've gotten little phone calls and stuff. They trying to get me, but I'm gonna be smart. I'm my own manager. I've been managing my own career, and I'm gonna play it smart. I got a real good team behind me. My advisors, man, I'm excited, man.
I love to hear it, man. Like you said, that's something we talk about a lot on the MMA side, and we've had a lot of past guests that have talked about that, about not necessarily wanting to fight guys on the way up, like you said, in a local setting, or like you said, to where unless it's for a lot of money. What was it that made you take that fight, though? Like, what was it that changed your mind that said, okay, this dude's chirping, now he's going to get what he asked for?
Well, I mean,
because that's what we're already seeing in the comments. Webber's arrogant and he's going to get knocked out.
Hey, like I said, you keep knocking on the devil's door, somebody gonna answer that mug. Hey, he got the answer he wanted. First, I shut him down, but then it seemed like that's what everybody wanted to see. And me being the people's champ, I mean, y'all know how it is in wrestling. Somebody call out a wrestler, oh, I want you, Dax, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's get it, baby. I'm the people's champ. Then everybody started talking about it, oh, they got belief that he could beat me. You know what? Before I go on this world stage status for a world title and stuff, I'm gonna get him out of there. So don't nobody even got to think about, oh, what if Derick would have fought him before he went up? You feel me? I'm gonna get him out of there. Mink, mink.
Hey man, you gotta be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense when you explain it like that. Like you said, you don't want to leave no stones unturned. You know what I mean? Before you move on.
I'm doing this for the Carlos Lina show.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Carlos. I'll be out there on the commentary for the MMA show March 15th. Always good to see some fights. If you guys are in the Detroit area, though, you got to come out to the soundboard February 21st and watch this man try to catch him a body out here on the 21st. I am looking forward to see it. There you see, they're already calling for it. Bye-bye, Webber, nighty night. Shout out to our guy, Scotty Buck from the Buck Boxing page is checking us out as well. He had a lot of good things to say about this fight as well, but you've already alluded to it a little bit. But do you think that the biggest difference in this fight is just going to be the overall experience you got? Because like you said, you've already been, fighting your way up through the amateurs. You already ranked number 25 when it comes to the world rankings. Do you think that the opposition and amount of fights you've had is going to be the overall difference come to 21st?
I believe so, man. He thinks he thinks he can do better than my last opponent. I'll make it happen again, honestly, man. Like, I'm way too much for him. You know what I mean? I got power, I got speed, I got jab. I guarantee you, no bumps, no bruises, baby. When I step out of that ring, no bumps, no bruises. That man can't put no hands on me, dog.
You heard the man, kind of like Razor Ramon used to say, "Hey, Chico, you're going to be coming out of here looking slick. Let's see if he's got the toothpick with it." But, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to seeing how this fight goes. I've seen Webber talking a lot of stuff. There he goes again. Webber runs his mouth too much. Beat the one guy who beat him. That's another thing. Does that give you any confidence leading into this fight that the guy that beat him, you've already fought that guy and beat him? Does that give you any extra level of confidence, or is it just one of those things where that's a different fight than the fight you're about to be in 21st?
It's just a different fight, man. Styles make fights.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's just kind of how it is. Styles make fights. I got something for every style out there. I can fight going forward. I can fight going backwards. I can do it all. I can match anybody's style. I'll take your own style away from you. You want to be an inside guy? I'll go inside with you. Bang that body up. Oh, you want to fight on the outside? I got a jab for you. A 1-2. Let's go.
2 piece and a biscuit, bro. I like it. That's what I like. That's what I like to hear out here, bro. Well, I mean, that pretty much kind of leaves it no left to the interpretation out here, bro. You over here are calling for another finish. Do you think you're going to get a quick finish like we saw in the last fight, or do you think this guy will last a little longer?
I think I'm in between. I'm indecisive. Do I want to just punish him, make him want to just stop? You know what I mean? Just get him out of there. I'm on the fence, but I'm not going to leave it to the judges no matter what. I could just punish and keep cutting up that face, pat, 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 keep pounding that face in if I want to, but I go for the knockout.
All right, so now that it's been addressed already a couple times in the comments, you got to talk to me a little bit about that. You already clearly have the gift of gab yourself. With that being said,
it don't sound cocky, dude.
I know it don't. I mean, dude, like I said, we come from the pro wrestling world, bro. If you think that you're cocky, I've heard 10 times. I've heard 10 times worse on this mug, especially with doing commentary, bro. I've seen guys come in and are talking all that trash, and then when they get in the cage or get in the ring, they can't back it up. So from what I see, like you said, you're already 18-0 yourself. You're already ranked 25 in the world. If you're not doing something right, you don't move up those ranks like that. So I already know what time it is. With that being said, you got people coming in left and right in here. I like it. But with that being said, dude, talk to me about, obviously, if you win this fight, you said you're on the cusp of, world title shots and things like that. What do you see as the next logical steps for you? What do you see as, okay, I get this win at Motor City on the 21st. What's next? Are you trying to fight again here locally? Do you want to take a fight somewhere outside of here? How do you see what's the next logical step for you?
Next logical move for me is to get internationally known. You know what I mean? I need to get internationally known. I could fight at home and and fight on pay-per-view. Hey, that's internationally known, you know. Or I can go outside the country, outside the state, you know, just kind of go. But, you know, a lot of people trying to put the pressure on me. Oh, you fighting in Detroit. When are you ever going to get out of here, you know? But, hey, I'm fighting whoever they put in front of me. Hey, word is we might have a show here in a local show on the Zone. So
I know from talking to our guy Chris de Blasio and all the smoke and the people that we seen over there for the Clarissa Shields fight, it sure sounds like we're going to be having a lot more coming here to the city, which I like. I mean, dude, Detroit's always been a fight capital as a whole, whether that's MMA, boxing. You know, we just had the CEO for BYB Extreme on here. They say they want to bring Bare Knuckle to Detroit. I know we just had Chris Lytle from Bare Knuckle FC. They say they want to bring that to Detroit. It sounds like 2025 and beyond is going to be even bigger for the state of Michigan, city of Detroit, and fights like that. With that being said, you know, we have this segment on the show that we usually ask to the pro wrestling side of things, but we've also edited that for the fighter side of the show for the wrestlers, that called the locker room etiquette standpoint. But it's not what you think. It's little pet peeves or things that piss you off. Now, we've gotten everything from wash your balls, keep your baby mama out the locker room, bring your own squirt bottle, bring your own wrist tape, all kinds of different things. For the fighters, I ask it usually like this. Do you got any fight week superstitions? Is there anything that, like, are you one of them guys that once it gets to fight time, leave me the fuck alone, get away from me? Or are you fun and jovial? It's always fun to see how different fighters react on fight week and during the process of camp. Like, what's that look like for you?
I just block out a lot of negativity. I block out a lot of negativity. You know, nothing really matters but this next fight coming up.
Yes, sir.
I don't look past the next fight coming up, and that's what's important. So that's pretty much my thing, man. Relax. I have fun with my family. You know, yeah, man. Just good vibes. You know what I'm saying? That's the best thing I can do. Keep my heart rate down. Somebody trying to get on my nerves. Yeah. We'll handle it. Just keep going.
I feel that. Cool, calm, and collected is the key inside the ring. I like to hear that. Shout out to our guy AAO Media, Andrew Smith. Check it in. He was just shooting the fights for Two Piece Promotions up at Cadillac. He said he's ready to make a trip after hearing him talk about this fight, man. If you haven't got them tickets, make sure you come down to Motor City Casino and come see the man at work.
Come out.
Yeah. I mean, look, you can't do better than fights on a Friday, and then Saturday we're going to be back in action. Mitten Muay Thai is going down Clinton Township, the Imperial House. I'll be back on the call for that one. That'll be live on Millions pay-per-view, so make sure you guys check that if you guys are around that weekend as well. Man, a lot of people are saying the champ is here, bro. So with that being said, you got to tell me who we talked about. Who are some of the influences? What are some of the fights that you see that could happen for you, whether that be in your weight class, whether you move up, go down a weight class? What are some of the fights that you think would be interesting for you in the future?
There's fighters that I want to fight, and we all know their names. You know, I'm not even gonna call my man by his name. What is it? Joe Opie. Cruiserweight, IBF cruiserweight champ right now. Hey, tell him, give me my shot, baby. I'm gonna go ahead and knock him off the mat. I heard Usyk was coming back down to cruiserweight. Then I see another news
Really?
that he's ready to retire.
I heard you call Usyk out, dog. That's a hell of a call out.
Usyk, give me my shot before you go, dog, because I guarantee you I will give you the best fight you ever had. You gonna love it. He might stay in the game for a few more fights just to try to beat me. You know, I'm telling you, dog. I'm not playing, man. I got
Bro,
a game.
that is a hell of a call out. I like that fight. What is it about? First of all, what did you think of his last fight with Fury, and what is it about Usyk that makes you feel like you can take the champ down?
Because, man, he came through the whole cruiserweight division, and he swept the cruiserweight division. He got bored at the cruiserweight division and went up to heavyweight. You feel me? He always challenging himself. That's the type of person I am. I want to challenge myself with the best. You know what I mean? And I want that fight before he decides to just go on with his money. I want him, I want better beef, Bivol, because I want to,
Them are tough ass fights, and that
I'm
shows the
going down.
confidence
I'm
you
gonna
got
go
in
down.
yourself.
I'm gonna go down to light heavyweight. Everybody I'm fighting bigger than me. I can come down to light heavyweight. What's his name? Benavidez. I want Benavidez. Come see me, baby.
I love it. He's calling out all the big names.
Those are all great fights, but realistically, how do we see yourself ascending to that next level? What do you see yourself in your career that you have to make the next steps to be able to get yourself into those level of fights?
That international exposure, man. That's what I need. I mean, y'all, let's boost this interview out there. You know what I mean? Let's make some reels. Let's make sure that these guys hear me.
Oh, I got you covered there. If you guys are new here, make sure you check out that Opus clip link in the description. Get you some dope looking clips.
Yeah, let's make sure they hear me. I promise you, dog. Just give me my shot, man.
Hell yeah, I love to hear that shit. Well,
I'm not gonna have another choice, baby, because what am I? 25 in the world. Once you reach at least 15 in the world, you damn near mandatory challenger. They ain't gonna keep playing me as a voluntary challenger. I'm gonna be that mandatory boy. You feel me? And then they gotta take it from me. So it only take one fight for them people to really hear me, dog. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It only take one more fight.
Yeah,
this dude February 21st. That's a highlight reel. They gonna want some after that.
Yeah. Like you say, all it takes is one fight. You get matched up against any one of them big name guys like that, and you go out there and shock the world, man. All of the boxing eyes will be on you. That's literally all it takes,
That's boxing, man. It will change. It could, like Carlos was telling me, man. Boxing is like night and day. You can, change your life in one fight.
Mm-hmm. It really is. Yeah. I mean, it's all about especially with the way, I know Kyle was going to bring it up here in a little bit, but look at the likes of a Jake Paul, where he's brought himself to in the heights of it. He's matching up with Canelo and, shit like that. Now, as gimmicky as it is, and as much as I think it, but realistically, it's just that the eyeballs and the attention that he's getting that's got him to those points. And that's like what you were just saying with, boost this out, get it. If you can just continue to get them eyeballs, man, it doesn't even, with the level of fighting that you got on top of it, I mean, it's just, it's tenfold. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's like why it took me so long to go pro. I kept chasing that Olympic dream. Once you win the Olympics, like a Clarissa Shields or something,
automatic.
Look, your first fight is worth that competition. It's going to be that competition that I felt like I deserved. You know what I mean? My first fight, I should have been banging with somebody up there, I had a good amateur record, but, you see who puts you forward.
Hey, man, you got, like you said, it's, at the end of the day, I respect what they did as far as being able to build your own name out of nowhere, whether that was by YouTube or however the hell they did it. I mean, at the end of the day, there were what they say, 72 million people were watching that stuff with Mike Tyson, dude. At the end of the day, eyes are eyes. Let me ask you this, though. Do you think that stuff is good for the sport of boxing? Do you think it brings more eyes as a whole to boxing? Or do you think, are you on the other side of the camp that, them doing these fights is, disrespectful to the sport of boxing?
What fights like what? Like
the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, or what he's doing fighting like the old UFC guys who are already retire. Do you think that because it's under like a boxing, banner, whether that's him promoting it or not, do you think that are you from the school where it's like all eyes are good eyes and more eyes on the sport is better from everybody? Or do you look at it from the fighter standpoint of it where it's like, okay, yeah, it might bring more eyes to boxing, but like I've always said, he ain't really fought that many real boxers. And when he did, let's be honest, Tommy Fury gave him the work.
Also, before you answer real quick too, I feel like boxing it still is to a degree, but it was such a respected sport. Olympic level, like you were just saying. I mean, like, it's the top of the top, and you really put respect on these top fighters' names and stuff. And I feel like once you've started to see that like social media influx and stuff like that, it's a lot of like, bullshit social media call outs and stuff like that. And it made the game a lot more gimmicky, at least from my perspective. What's your thoughts being the insider?
I like it. I started, as it began to happen, I was kind of like, man, this ain't boxing. But when you really think about it, man, it's still entertainment. I mean, you can play football, you can play basketball, baseball,
can't
play boxing.
So that's kind of where a lot of people's thought process is. Man, this ain't no game. This is boxing. Don't throw Jake Paul in with Mike Tyson. I mean, but shit, it's entertainment too. So there we got charity fights. You know what I mean? I would have liked that to be a charity fight. Let that money go to a good charity or something like that. But it's good for the sport because there's more eyes. What's popping right now? YouTube. All these kids watching YouTube. We got so many kids at our gym right now. We got probably about almost 30 kids at our gym right now, and they're still coming in because of what they're seeing on TV. I mean, boxing is becoming a fashion. Boxing is becoming a workout. It's popular. It's trending.
That's one thing I can definitely say from yet again from an outsider's perspective, but it seems like the influx of the young people's attention to boxing has really went up drastically because of the whole social media boxing, the misfits boxing and stuff like that. It's really helped garner that young fan base to actually care about boxing again, where before it seemed like MMA was really taking like a foothold in the combat sports, especially with the younger generation. But now it seems like boxing's on a huge resurgence.
Yeah, and I think that just comes to, like they say, boxing is always, every big fight you see, it's like, it always sounds like, oh, this is the last good fight that we'll ever get. You know what I mean?
Yes.
MMA is more like, oh, that was a great fight. I can't wait to the next one. This person versus this one, the next one's going to be even better. Boxing's kind of like, oh, this is going to be the last fight, of Derick's challenges. Yeah. And then it's like, I don't know. You get what I'm saying, right?
I totally get what you're saying. It definitely has it's definitely got more people talking about boxing than what's been going on. I agree with that 100%. The resurgence of Gronk is huge for the sport as well. Couldn't agree with that more. A Detroit staple. Definitely shout out to them.
One thing real quick I wanted to get your thoughts on is how do you like or dislike this whole Turki Al-Sheikh, the real insurgence of boxing becoming such a big prevalent thing over in the Middle East? The fact that he's really spending all this money to continue to revive the sport where, like we were just saying earlier, it was already on that upward trajectory, and now you're seeing all these actual top-level matchups with, the guys that we've been wanting to see matched up for years, and somebody's finally busting out that checkbook to make these matchups happen. What's your thoughts on the whole fighting overseas in the Middle East and stuff like that? Is that something you could see yourself in the future? What's your thoughts on the whole situation?
I mean, I couldn't be nothing but excited, you know what I mean? Because these guys are getting purses that are way bigger than anybody. It's almost like what they're doing with golf.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They got this other league coming up, and they paying these golfers way more money to get in their league. I mean, that Turkey guy is putting putting a hold on the game. He's putting these other promoters under watch. Like, what y'all doing? Why y'all can't do it like this?
Well, you
And-
just
and
mentioned
some of the-
Usyk, man. Even if you look at what happened in the last fight with Tyson Fury and Usyk, man, I mean, holy hell, they had that place packed out. It was doing everything on pay-per-view, and they both got paid crazy-ass money, dude. So, I mean, ultimately, however you want to talk about it, money talks and bullshit walks, and that guy has got a lot of money from the upside of it. I mean, that
the money aspect and all that's awesome, right? But for me, at least, I don't think Usyk would have ended up being the star that he is, because I don't think those two Fury matchups would have ever happened if it wasn't for this whole evolution. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where I feel like it's making the biggest impact on boxing, is we're going to finally potentially get some of these matchups that we've been, speculating for years. Who's going to actually beat who's going to, and that's one thing, as more of an MMA fan, I would love to see with boxing, is a bit of forgiveness on these guys for getting one loss in a top level bout. You know what I mean? Just because you lost to the other number one guy and you're a number one guy doesn't mean you're all of a sudden shit. You know what I mean? And that's the one thing I would like to see with boxing. And I think once we get more of these true champion versus champion matchups and stuff, I think we're going to see more of that, where it doesn't necessarily matter if you lost one or two. If you can go out there in that next one and still beat number one and become, the champ yourself again, it is what it is. And that's one thing I would love to see boxing kind of integrate into its world.
Right, because we all coming from the same, the love of the era. So it's crazy because a lot of the older generation of boxing fans are like, even when boxing was on its rise, old school boxing fans are kind of like, yeah, but there's too many belts. This guy ain't never gonna fight this guy. I'm tired of waiting for this story to end. You know what I mean? Think about it. Floyd and Pacquiao and stuff. It took so long.
the perfect example.
I mean? It made the old school guys like, oh, y'all young bucks is washed up,
Not like the Four Kings era, bro. Not like the Four Kings era for sure. But with that being said, we talked about Turkey Al-Sheikh, bro. You got to tell me, what are your thoughts on all the stuff we've been seeing with Canelo? We went from Canelo to Jake Paul to now they've announced it's going to be Canelo versus William Skull next. Is going to be his next fight, and that's going to be the first fight on the deal with Turkey Al-Sheikh. But what do you think it means for a big name? Like you said, the money that guy's throwing out, but what do you think it means now to have a guy like Canelo who's on the top level like that? Now he is signed like a straight 4-fight deal with Turkey Al-Sheikh, because most of these fights that he's been running so far, it's been like a single fight here, a single fight there. We bring him over for Rita season and all that kind of stuff. But now when you see a guy like Canelo being willing to sign multiple fight deals with that, I think that only opens the door for more bigger fights. But what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think Canelo don't know what he got himself into because, that Turkey guy, he's making guys, 50-50 fights, who gonna win? It ain't Canelo's the all-star, so he's most likely gonna win. He's making 50-50 fights. So, hey, say I knock out 2 more guys, then I knock somebody out that's potentially got a chance to get a fight against Canelo. I'll fight Canelo. I'll drop down weight. I think the world would love to see that fight.
Yeah. Hey, I'm with it. If you fight Canelo, just remember your friends over here at Knockouts 3 Counts. Dude, Canelo's a dog, dude, and I wish people would put respect on his name, dude. Do you think he needs to have do you think he needs the Bud Crawford fight in order for his legacy to be intact, or do you think he's already kind of cemented it?
I mean, it's kind of like my situation. If you're gonna be the people's champ, go ahead and take the fight, man. You feel me? Everybody, it's a huge fight. You're gonna be the people's champ. fight who the people want to see you fight.
I ain't mad at that. I want to see that fight my damn self because shout out to our guy from Fight Hype. We seen him down here for the Clarissa Shields fight. He was trying to get Buck to he was trying to get Bud to let out who he's fighting next and all those things, bro. I feel like everybody's trying to get that one out of there on him. But you know, with all that being said, dude, you know, as we get close to February 21st. And we get to you fighting Vernon Webber and all those things, man.
Cool.
I said his name right, didn't I? I misspoke. No, I'm not talking about Canelo. I'm talking about you. I'm saying as we get to February 21st, bro, talking about your opponent that you got coming up, bro. We've already said that you're trying to get this finish. You're trying to get the win here. For anybody who's on their way in here to this fight, looking to get tickets and all those things, what do we got to see February 21st?
No, you get what I was saying, you know, like who, that guy, you know.
Yeah, I get you. Now I got it. It went over my head. It went over my head for me. I'm the pro wrestling guy too. What the fuck? You see all this stuff behind me and it went right over my head. Look at this shit. I've only been doing this 10 years. Hell.
You said February 21st. What do we?
I'm saying for anybody who's on because we see a lot of people in the comments here talking about they need to get these tickets, bro. What do they got to see on the 21st? What can we expect? Are we, you know, for those who have never seen Dmillz before, what are they going to see inside that ring, bro? Because we keep getting people. I got to get tickets. There's 3 more comments I see in here saying I got to get tickets. So let the people know what they got.
Hey. Best tickets you gonna get, man. Dmillz is headlining, man. It's for a title. I'm defending my title. Watch the pressure. Watch how I deal with pressure. You feel me? You go to these fights, it's gonna be legendary because once I'm gonna be a world champion, and you're gonna be able to say, "Hey, the fights was a lot cheaper when he was down here."
That part. That shit is not cheap when you travel, dog. Thank God for fight credentials.
Get your tickets, man. I'm telling you, because, you know, and then you can have an opinion. You know, you ain't came to my fight. You got an opinion on whether I'm going to win or lose. You know what I mean? Your stance don't really stand that strong.
I hear it talking out of the side of your mouth. All right, well, last question I got for you, bro. We talked that we also run the pro wrestling side of things. And as we've already seen from this episode, you've got the gift of gab yourself. So you got to tell me, did you ever fuck with the pro wrestling side of things? If so, who were some of the people that you rock with?
What is it?
I said, so we're a pro wrestling show as well, bro.
WWE, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's it. That's it.
What?
I love it, dude. Same era as me. Matter of fact, let me point that up that way. You see that guy over there in the corner? That's got Stone Cold up there in the corner. We just seen him a couple years ago over there in New Orleans, man. Can't go wrong with that shit.
Yeah. Hey, I was a big wrestling guy. Even my son, I got my son in the wrestling. He'll tell you all the old school stuff, man.
Man, we got to get you out to one of the viewing parties, bro. We got our next viewing party. Shout out to the homies from Potters of Destiny. March 1st, we're going to be having another event down there for Elimination Chamber. You heard the man. What? You got to come out. You got to come out. You might win little man a belt, bro. The last party, homie walked home with a big Winged Eagle belt.
Man, they got to give me some backstage. You know what I'm saying? They got to treat me like some little bit of royalty. Golly, man. Get me up in there.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
GWC, man. My man.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Shout out. I was just talking to him this morning. Shout out to the homie. Let's go. I'm looking forward to seeing him at the fights. I've seen him down there in Motor City a couple times. You know, it's a situation station with the homie over there blowing trees in the fast lane. You see, I already know. We had to get him and the Godfather out there, bro, and it's going to be a good time. But, you know, like we said, if you guys are in the area, if you're in Michigan, you need to be at this fight. Shout out to Scotty Buck, man. That's the good thing about being in here, bro. You hit the subscribe button, you get to see everything. But with that being said, man, you got to make sure you check us out every Tuesday and Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be back next week. We got some wrestling stuff coming your way. Mitten Muay Thai is coming your way. And, man, there has been a lot of shit talking leading up to this Mitten Muay Thai fight. So if our pro wrestling fans are watching this, I'm just going to say next week's show might be one you want to make. But let everybody know where they can follow you. Let them know where they can get some Dmillz merch. Let them know where they can get tickets and all that good stuff.
You can go to the website, Derick Miller Jr. Management.com. Derick is DERICK Miller, L-E-R Jr. Management.com. Check out my new social media. That's where you find that. You can at Derick Miller Jr. on Instagram. Miller Time, MILLERTYME on Facebook. And Derick Miller also on Facebook. I got 2 pages. Yeah, check me out, man. Share my stuff. Hey, it don't take much to share. Hey, help
bro, you're preaching to the choir, man. Make sure you spread the word on this, man. Make people find out what time it is. He's defending the belt February 21st. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check all that out. Again, shout out to Two Piece Promotions. And stay tuned. Like I said, we've got I won't tell you who it's going to be, but we got some heat. We got some heat headed your way. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Until next time and in the in-between time, make sure you hit that button. We will see you back next Tuesday. Until next time and in between time, peace, my man. Don't get caught slipping.